Hi Ash. What we're going to do here, we're going to make life real easy on ourselves, and we're going to use the unit circle. So the unit circle, I don't know if you've got there yet where you're going through the course, but this is insanely helpful and useful. And basically, if we just had a circle with a radius of 1 unit, we could snap that to an XY axis and we get all of these points, which are really helpful. Um, So here we're asked to evaluate, basically we have a function, right? F of theta equals da 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 da, and we're asked to evaluate f of pi over 6, right? So f of pi over 6, that's going to be 2 times the sine. Instead of theta, that's going to be the sine of pi over 6, plus, I'll just write down here so I don't run into our unit circle, plus the cosine of 2 theta, which is going to be 2 times pi over 6. All right, now 2 times pi over 6, that's like 2 pi over 6, but we can reduce that fraction. So this is going to be like pi over 3, right? I'll just write that in there to save space. So the cosine of pi over 3. Now, the beauty of this unit circle, let's evaluate the sine of pi over 6 first. So we look on our unit circle, we find pi over 6, and the sine of that angle, so is the sine of this little triangle, if you want to visualize it as like we're making a right triangle, I'll try my best to color it in here, right? And here's theta, pi over 6. So basically what we're asked to find here, the sine of theta is opposite, which is the y component, the vertical component, 1/2, divided by the hypotenuse. But the hypotenuse is 1. It's always going to be 1 in a unit circle. So 1/2 divided by 1 is 1/2. So the sine of pi over 6 is basically 1/2. So I'm just going to whip that out, and we have 1/2 there, right? So 2 times 1/2. Now, the cosine of pi over 3 will do the same deal. Pi over 3 is right here. And again, if I kind of drop that down and make a right triangle, it's getting a little messy here, but hopefully you can follow me. Right, there's theta, pi over 3. And again, the cosine is going to be the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. Adjacent is just the x component here, right? The horizontal component, which is 1/2. So from here to here is 1/2. And again, if you want to geek out more about the unit circle, we have to get into like 30, 60, 90 triangles and all the special angles and all that stuff. But for right now, basically the cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2. So I can wipe that out and I'll just replace that with 1/2. All right? So now life's pretty good. We'll summarize this up. So I'll just write it again. This is going to be 2 times 1/2 plus 1/2. And that's it. That's all we're really going to do here. I'll erase some of my marks here. And we'll just do that arithmetic up. We should be good to go. Okay, so 2 times 1/2, well, that's going to be 1, right? Because 2 times 1 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 plus 1/2 is 3/2, right? So remember, I'm just making an equivalent fraction. This is going to be like 2 over 2 plus 1 over 2 equals 3 over 2. So that's going to be our answer right there, buddy, I hope. And if we go blast that in, oh, I closed the window anyway. But anyway, blast that in, it should give it to you there. So long and short, use the unit circle. It'll help you immensely. Hope that helps.